G'day ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. So today we're making knives. I know, big shocker. So about 2 weeks ago I put out the call for Venom pre-orders and I was only thinking about maybe doing 15 or 20, just sort of a small batch, just something to sort of fill in the time between two big projects I'm currently doing. And a whole bunch of you guys jumped on board very quickly. We sold out pretty quickly. And then my retailers jumped on board. And now we're making about 40 of them. So yeah. So essentially what that means is that little CNC in the room has been doing 12-hour shifts for about a week straight. And I've just been kind of hovering it around it like a concerned parent, making sure it doesn't blow things up on me, which it did. So yeah guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching and let's roll into it. So operation number one, my idea is to clamp my piece of steel in here, and then when I hit go, this thing's going to come in here and it's going to put like a little pocket in the center, and then we're going to use that center pocket to bolt everything else down to. Thank you, compressor. Take two. So yeah, my idea is to basically bolt a piece of steel in here and then use this to cut a pocket in there, and then we can use that as a bolt down point for everything else. And hopefully we'll do everything right, it'll work out perfectly and we won't, put a piece of steel in through the roof or something. So one thing I've learned about CNC so far is these things are the most anal retentive machines on the planet. One little wrong measurement, one wrong decimal point, one wrong button, and this thing's gonna throw a full-blown tantrum. It's gonna break tools, it's gonna throw a part out of the vise. It's just a bad day. So one of the things that this thing's very anal retentive about is making sure it's square. So it's not just good enough to bolt down a vise. I've got to come in here with one of these little doohickeys, and I've got to be able to sweep this back and forth and measure how much angle I have here and just get it to a point where it's good enough essentially. This is a 5mm indicator, so right now this vise is wildly out. So the idea is you've got to kind of just tap it a little bit and get it to the point where it locks up straight. All right, so we've got some fresh carbide. Now I've opted for the cheapest, nastiest carbide I could find. I'm probably making a mistake, but at the moment I'm not wearing out tools. I'm just breaking them, doing dumb shit. I'm still sort of learning Mach 3, and it doesn't take a whole lot to sort of, hit the wrong button or put in the wrong code and just snap an end mill. So now I've opted for one roughing end mill, which we've got here, and then I've got a whole bunch of regular 6mm end mills and a few 4mm end mills. I'm probably going to have to put it in order after this, but we're going to see how it goes. And we've got one extra one here, which is in the machine currently. So up here is the fixture in last week's video, and I tried to do some more work with it. I was trying to put some more screws in there and sort of modify it to work, but it just wasn't working. So we've cut our losses, and I'll probably use this for something else down the road. This is fixture 2.0, and this is a little bit more advanced. We have some machining on aluminium. I'm not going to say it's good machining, but it's machining. Essentially, I've come through here with like a 10mm cutter, and I've made these little nubs here. So the theory being is I'll use the vise to make these little parts here. They'll slot onto these. I put 2 screws in there, and then I'll have a big piece of steel here and here with some screws down there that'll hold everything down. I was originally thinking like putting in hold down screws, but it would mean I'd have to do a tool change on the machine, and I don't want to do tool changes if I don't have to. I don't have a tool changer, so everything's manual. So if I can avoid it, that's great. So yeah, that's the idea. I'll be able to load up 3 at once, hit go, and then, you know, this thing will be able to cut away in the background. No tool changes, nothing, which is exactly what I want. So hopefully this works, and I haven't wasted half a day of machining on nothing. So I've snapped an end mill. You can kind of see it was really throwing up a burr here. And I kind of just let it run. Every single surface here is going to get ground anyway and finished anyway, so I'm not too fussed about surface finish. But yeah, this one little end mill did about 7 or 8 knives, so I'm definitely not complaining. That was a lot of little work for a $12 end mill. So I've just chucked in a new end mill. This is a roughing end mill, so you can see those little teeth on the flutes. Those act as like little chip breakers, so you have a smaller chip, you can in theory take more aggressive cuts. I've used these in the past a decent amount in the manual mill, so we'll give it a try on the CNC. So I've been machining away, and the process I've kind of come up with is I'll machine a few blades, heat treat a few blades, machine a few blades, heat treat a few blades, and the whole time I'm also surface grinding. So I've got my CNC, my heat treat oven, and the surface grinder, sorry, all running at the same time all day, and I'm kind of bouncing around between the 3 of them. And that's working really well so far. You can actually see these 3 blades are surface grind, machined, and heat treated right now, which is why they've got those heat treat colors on there. However, we do have some weird stuff going on. The CNC is giving me some weird stuff like this. Now, if you've ever ran a CNC, this shit is f***ing terrifying. I have no idea what went wrong here. Essentially, I was working away, and I just heard this really, really loud rumble out of the other room. So I run over, hit the big red button, and shut the shit off. And essentially what the CNC decided to do was to have a little bit of fun with me and damn near turn this into a ballistic knife. Now, this is really, really weird on a number of fronts. The first thing is, the obvious part is that it's dropped in one single cut. It's probably dropped all the way down to 0 and just damn near cut the blade in half. The other really weird part about this is that it's actually, it's created its own toolpath. Because at the moment what the CNC is supposed to do is to come down with the cutter and then trace this, come up, come down with the cutter, trace this, come up, and sort of go down that way. But it's decided to go halfway through here and just go across the thing and just, yeah, do that. Which is really, really weird. That's not supposed to be in the code at all. The other really weird part about this was that this was not knife number 1, this was not knife number 2. This was knife number 3 or 4. So what's been happening is I've been, machining a part, not changing anything, basically putting the new part in and then hitting reset and essentially recutting the part. Another really weird part is that after this happened, obviously I freaked out. I went through all my code and trying to see what went wrong. And the code looks fine. So I put the next part in and it came out perfectly fine. I actually ran that CNC for the rest of the day. I didn't change my cutters. I didn't do anything. I just kept on running it and it didn't have any issues. That's also not the first time this has happened. It's also done stuff like this where all of a sudden it shifted my tool path up and down. So it's actually shifted, what is that, maybe, it's because it's actually shifted maybe 5 or 6 mil upwards and then gone down by about a millimeter instead of 0.3 of a mil. So I don't know what's going on with that sort of stuff. I posted about this on Facebook and Instagram, and the general consensus is that Mark III does weird shit and it's got a mind of its own. In theory, computers are supposed to do the same thing all the time, but apparently my CNC has not learned that lesson just yet. So that's a little bit nerve-wracking, but hey, it's all a learning experience. So yeah, I'm gonna call it quits for this video. Obviously, I didn't show any of the bevel grinding or the handle wraps and all that sort of stuff. And that's just because I did that in the previous video. So if you're interested in that sort of stuff, check out the last video I did. But yeah, these are coming out really nice. I've actually got a whole bunch more to make, so I'm actually gonna have to start reordering material and getting some more coming in because these little things are pretty popular. They're viciously, viciously grind. If you have a look at them, they have a really, really fine tip. Now, daggers aren't exactly legal in Victoria. I'm not allowed to make them, but this here is totally legal and about as close as I can get to making a dagger. So for those guys who want a dagger from me, this is probably as close as you'll ever get, because these things are just nasty, nasty pointy. So yeah, guys, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. If you want to see more videos like this, let me know. The CNC videos are doing pretty well at the moment, so I guess we're going to make more. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.